So, what's up troops, it's me, TheTacticalBrit, and today we're back again with another squad guide, and in this section we are looking at the movement system in-game. Squad is relatively simplistic in movement, but it's quite a dynamic game, and certain elements you'll find of squad will come together to eventually form a fluid system. You have to be quite fluid at the game in order to be effective. So we're going to look at the basics of movement. So first and foremost, we've got our simple movement. W, A, S, and D. Nothing major. Holding A and D is going to move you towards diagonal right, S and D diagonal left, backwards left, however you name it. You can strafe left and right as well. Alongside that, you also have a lean system, and the lean system is very important when it comes to combat. Pressing E will make you lean right, pressing Q will make you lean left, and you can also alternate between these two by pressing Q then E, or E then Q. If you want to get out of your lean, you can press Q again, and then jump back into it quite simplistically, or press E again and jump back out of it quite simplistically. And the leaning system is most important when you're aiming down sight, which is obviously, of course, your right mouse click, and sprinting is with the shift key, which is nothing particularly new, so a relatively simplistic FPS layout that you're used to. Leaning system is quite useful for going around corners and engaging enemies when you're trying to keep your body covered. So a good example of how the leaning system is important in terms of movement is if I stand here and I want to aim at a guy who's somewhere around there. Of course I fired using left mouse click there. I am quite exposed. Half of my body is probably visible to him. Whereas if I lean, and if I have a quick look-sees now, my feet are entirely behind the wall and a very minuscule amount of my body is available. So the leaning system is incredibly important for allowing yourself to have a certain amount of cover and making sure you remain covered during firefights, or perhaps if you're breaching some kind of building. It's quite simplistic. It's a very easy system to use, and you know, just make sure you lean effectively. Don't run into a building and get shot. Check your corners. Use the leaning system to your disposal. If you find yourself in a two-way door, lean, pow. Okay, you've seen that side's clear. Pow, press the Q key. Back again. That side's clear too. You're good to go through. It's quite simple. Leaning system is very useful. Now the next one we have, of course, is crouching and prone. Again, very simplistic. It's control to crouch and Z to prone, but I've personally rebound these buttons, and I strongly recommend you do too. If you're lucky enough to have some mouse buttons on your mouse, I have a Razer Death Adder Chroma or something like that, and I personally use the side mouse buttons on here to change between crouching and prone, because what you'll find in squad is that as you're moving, sometimes it's very important for you to swiftly move in between one position to another. So let's say, for example, I'll give you a scenario. There are some shooters somewhere up on that hill. I haven't seen them though. I'm just running down this road, and all of a sudden they lay down fire on me, and holy shit, I'm being suppressed. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know where I'm being shot from, and I need to move quickly. So I've got very limited cover here, so bang. You know, I have to hit the prone key. So make sure you've got these things bound to something that is going to be quick and swift for you to move between these things. And the final thing about the movement system actually is the stamina bar. In the bottom right corner you can see a stamina bar, and the stamina bar is very important. It's actually something which is incredibly underestimated in this game. Holding down the sprint key and of course pressing space to jump over objects such as HESCO barriers like this, or even the little wall here and there, is great. It's a very useful system, and it stops players, you know, sprinting forever. You know, sometimes you do have to walk, sometimes you have to take it slow, and it's quite important to get over these like bits of terrain here and there. But the stamina system has a flip side to it. So, say for example, I want to get to this building here. I know there's an enemy in there, and I hold my stamina button, and you can see my bar is draining really fast. Now, as I get to the end of this, holy crap, there you go, my stamina's gone. Now, if there was an enemy on that road, and I had ran out of stamina mid-road, and I had to go into a walking pace, I am a very easy target to hit. So making sure you have sufficient stamina to cross roads or open plains is quite important. If you see a big field and you have to cross that field, there is absolutely no way you're going to do that with minimal stamina. You have to have a full stamina bar. You have to have a full stamina bar, and that way you can remain quick on your toes. And you can get that quite simply just by laying down or crouching, or just not moving at all, or using a walking pace to regenerate it quite slowly. The walking pace doesn't get it back as fast as crouching and prone, but at least allows you to keep moving if need be. Now, another side effect of the stamina is down to aiming. So, as you can see here, I am aiming, and there's a little bit of scope sway, and one thing that's pretty important to mention, and I will mention it in my guns guide as well, is that if I crouch, that scope sway is reduced, and then if I prone, that scope sway is reduced again. And pressing the shift key, which is the sprint key, also allows you to focus and breathe in. And this is where stamina comes in. I can breathe in at crouching, standing, or prone, which will reduce my scope sway significantly. But a problem with that is that if I deplete the stamina bar in the bottom right corner to red, I am unable to do that. So say, for example, I see that building out in the distance, so I'm going to take a quick jog. I'm going to run across this road because I think, oh, you know, if I get to those bunkers or something, I'll have a bit of cover. Now, here's a bit of a problem. I'm going to quickly run in circles. Let's say this was a slightly longer journey than what I anticipated. I thought I could get there quite quickly just by running. And I'm going to do a few loops here just to deplete my stamina entirely, and it's going to be quite simple. As you can see, my stamina is pretty much depleting quite quickly here. I could jump as well, which is making it reduce even more. So I'm just going to quickly run around the back of these bunkers here. We're going to use these ones here. You have a lot of stamina, by the way. So I get to this, and all of a sudden I'm aiming at these guys, right? And I can't shift, I can't focus, because the stamina bar, once it reaches red, will not allow you to zoom in with your shift key and focus. Eventually, once a certain amount has been regained, you can do that again, but your scope sway is going to be crazy as hell. And if there's guys 100-ish meters away from you, and that scope sway is high, the difference between hitting them there, and the difference between your scope sway missing by 5 meters is pretty big. Without the scope sway, it's quite easy to hit targets. You know, in the distance, it's not too hard, it's something that's manageable. But if the scope sway's off and I'm moving all over the place, I'm going to be missing a lot of bullets. So that's stamina, that's movement, and that's leaning. It's quite simplistic, and if you want a better implication of how this works for shooting, feel free to check out the next video, which is a guide on shooting and how to engage enemies correctly and at the most effective rate. It's been me, the Tactical Brit, guys. There's lots more guides in the description below. Make sure you check them out, and I'll see you again soon in another video.